All right. Happy Friday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, good whatever, wherever you are in the world and whatever time you're watching this. Thank God it's Friday. All right. It's Friday. There's a lot going on. It's Father's Day weekend. It's Army birthday. It's Flag Day. We're going to get into all of that stuff. But first, you guys are probably wondering who this lovely lady is next to me today. And I'm excited. She's one of the newer members of the HMG family. Darleen Mahoney. She is the seniorlivingguide.com podcast host. So without further ado, Darleen, how are you?
I am doing amazing. How about yourself?
I am fantastic. I'm glad that it's the weekend.
I'm glad God invented air conditioning, or someone did, because
Yeah.
it's been a little roasty.
Well, I bet. Well, now tell the listeners where you're at. Where are you at?
So I'm in Florida. I'm on the East Coast, which is also referred to as the Space Coast. It's where all the rockets go off. So that's the best way, because most people don't really know where this is. I'm in Melbourne, Florida. So yeah.
That's such a beautiful area. I got a good friend of mine down there. Actually, the guy that helped us with our sister company, HMG Beverage, Mr. Sean Ricks. Sean, I know you'll watch this eventually. Yeah. Thank you, brother. Yeah, so we're going to dive in right away. We got a lot to cover today, and here in a little bit, we're going to get to know you a little bit better, and we're going to talk a little bit more about senior living. And actually, you know what? Since I said that, I lied. Let's dive into a little bit who you are right now. So,
oh my gosh, that's such a loaded question. So complex. I'm just kidding. I wear multiple hats, it seems, these days, but I work for a company called seniorlivingguide.com. And we are a resource for seniors, their families, social workers, case managers, anyone that's looking for senior housing, home health care, home care, blah, blah, everything senior related, including resources. We've actually added so many different resources to our website, which is national. So I manage that as far as handling like the team and things like that for digital, and then some of our advertisers that work with us as partners. But I also do our podcast, which was born in 2020, and it is a senior and caregiver resource podcast. And it's my special project per se, but it's also something that has made this job just so fantastic.
right.
And been a great resource for those that really need it, which is the end goal.
Well, I love that. I love that. It's been a joy working with you the last couple months now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've learned a lot, a whole lot, because I'm getting closer to that age where I need to really start looking more at some of those things.
Yeah.
And having parents, I know my pop's watching this, having parents of that age,
Yeah.
where you got to watch it. And it's very eye opening. You don't know what you don't know. And it's been a blessing and listening to it. So I think you've done a great job with it. So appreciate you being here today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Senior housing, senior living, senior Medicare, senior Medicaid, Social Security, all that stuff is super complicated. It's not been made easy. And then you throw in a senior that maybe dealing with any cognitive issues, and
Right.
you have like the perfect storm. So really understanding all of that as a senior that is really looking into different things regarding healthcare, Medicaid, anything. And in all honesty, anything in just general life, it's so important because there's not a lot out there.
Right. Is there now when they define senior, what age is that? Is there certain this I gotta ask though.
I know, right? So it kind of freaks me out because AARP is one of our partners, and they do several podcasts with us a year. And one of the first, podcasts, he said something about your AARP card, and I'm like going, well, I'm not gonna tell my age, but I
Right.
didn't think I qualified for AARP card, and apparently I should have been receiving it for the last 4 years. So, I'm just like, "No, I'm good. You keep me off that list."
Yeah.
Um, but I think that it used to be 55 plus was considered senior. Um, but I think we're such a new, like, generation of people, 'cause I think the new 55 is the 40 is the new 45, because 55-year-olds are not, they're not old for the most part. They're still vibrant. Some of them have even kids at home,
Yeah.
that they're still raising. So I do know that a lot of senior, just 55 plus communities are no longer 55 plus. They've moved it to 62.
Oh, wow.
So I think that, in all honesty, senior kind of should fall, in my opinion, when you start qualifying for Social Security. To me, that's when you kind of hit that you come over the finish line for that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, I gotcha. I gotcha.
yeah.
Who do we got here? Ken, what's up, brother? Appreciate you jumping on. Annette, hello, my friend. Appreciate you jumping on as well. Good morning to you all. Um, yeah, the so would you say 62? Is it six?
Yeah, I
30
think we're kind of shifting more
years?
towards looking at seniors at 62 in the way that, communities, independent living, 55 plus apartments and those types of things are
Yeah,
starting to target that, because they're the 55, they're still very vibrant. They're still working. It's not, people can't retire early anymore. They're retiring later and later, just based on finances. And in all honesty, people do not realize how expensive senior housing is. Assisted living, memory care, all those types of things are really expensive. They're not affordable for the average Joe. So it really is. If you're not up there, start thinking about that, start planning for that, because at some point you may need to move into those services if
right.
you don't have, um, the structure at home. And then sometimes you think that your kids are gonna take care of you, and then all of a sudden your kids are doing their own thing.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that point up because I'm sure I'm gonna get a phone call later from my parents
Yeah.
about that. Oh goodness. All right. We're gonna shift gears here a bit. Those of you that are watching again, uh appreciate you guys jumping on. We got a couple of people here on the old Facebook and some of the other social platforms. This weekend. This weekend is Father's Day weekend. Let me say happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there that show up every day
Mm,
uh, and are there for your kids, taking on your responsibilities as a father. Appreciate you guys out
yeah.
there. So, and good job. That I will definitely say.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, my dad is passed. My dad had dementia. He passed away before COVID.
Oh,
And I still celebrate him. And even my grandfather, who passed away when I was 7, I still think about him even on Father's Day. But then all the fathers that are not the dads, they are the step parents.
oh yeah,
They don't get enough credit. And in all honesty, that's a job they didn't, they signed up for. So it's a big deal.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's especially steps. I was blessed enough. My pop. He technically he says, but to me, he's dad. You know,
Mhm.
and he's been there for me through and through. I know he'll watch this later on. He always does, or I'm sure he'll jump on here when he wakes up. But um, yeah, just super blessed, and
Yeah.
he been there for me through and through, and it's great, and it's and me being I was a single parent for 15 years. I think being a parent, uh, military veteran, but also a father. I think being a father is the greatest gift that anybody can do, and then serving your country is a very very close second. Rich from Sicily, hey, ciao, brother. Appreciate you, man, jumping on all the way from Italy, from Sicily. This is great. Um, Rich, which is this is a good transition right now. Today is also the Army birthday. 249 years of the greatest army in the world, my humble opinion. 249 years of kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah.
A little bit about the Army. June 14th, 1775, on this very day in 1775, Congress resolved that 6 companies of expert riflemen be immediately raised in Pennsylvania, 2 in Maryland, and 2 in Virginia. As soon as that was completed, they shall march and join the army near Boston. This was obviously during the Revolutionary War time, to be employed as light infantry under the command of the chief officer in that army. The delegates then prescribed an oath of enlistment that required the soldiers to swear in, quote, I have this day voluntarily enlisted myself as a soldier in the American Continental Army for 1 year, unless sooner discharged. And I do bind myself to conform in all instances to such rules and regulations as are or shall be established for the government of the said army, end quote.
There's a history lesson for you there.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this day, being an Army veteran myself. Rich is on, like I said, from Sicily, on a fellow Army veteran, great dude. So to all of my brothers and sisters out there, happy birthday. Love you guys and appreciate everything that honestly all of our military does, but since it's the Army's birthday today,
it's their day.
what we're talking about. You guys get it. You guys, yeah. Right there. Another little history lesson. Today is also Flag Day. This holiday is celebrated today. It commemorates the adoption of the flag of the United States on June 14th, 1777, by resolution of the Second Continental Congress. The flag resolution stated, quote, that the flag of the 13 United States be 13 stripes, alternate red and white, and that the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field, representing a new constellation. In 1916, President Woodrow Wilson issued a presidential proclamation that designated June 14th as Flag Day. Pretty interesting. I love it. So little history lesson there for all of y'all. Oh, let's catch up on the comments here. What do we got? I love it. Ken, same to you, brother. Ryan, another great guy. Happy birthday, Army family. Love it. Thank you. What else do we got here? We got let me do a quick reminder, guys. Big event coming up, not next week, the following week. I've been saying next week for the last 2 weeks. It's actually on June 25th. Some great speakers are coming to Johns Hopkins University's Carey Business School about the real estate industry. And part of this endeavor, Johns Hopkins University is trying to help more veterans land high-paying jobs or start companies in the real estate industry. You guys probably remember the last couple of weeks I've talked about this. I wrote an article for Newsmax on this a few weeks ago. This is going to take place at the university's DC campus, but it can also be streamed live. So if you're interested in learning about the real estate industry, you have 4 of the best people in the real estate business that are going to be there. And you can attend personally, or you can go online. And I will, after the show, I will post the link where you can sign up if you want to watch it online. So let's get into some headlines. Now, Darlene, I sent you some headlines, and then I added a few just to kind of throw things off because, well, I'm just a stickler that way, I guess. I want to address the elephant in the room right now this week. There's been a few of them, believe it. But this whole Caitlin Clark thing, I don't watch the WNBA. I'm a basketball fan. I think what she's done for the sport is been amazing. She's obviously getting a lot of hype coming out of college, and she's brought a lot to the WNBA already. And she was left off the Olympic team, I guess, from what I've seen. And there's a lot of back and forth with that. Just like to hear some of your guys' thoughts that are watching. I think she's put. I'm not going to say that she's put the WNBA on the map. I think she's brought a lot of attention to the WNBA, and a lot more people are watching it because of the hype that she has. Great basketball player, good person too, from what I've seen, in my opinion. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward with her.
Yeah, I mean, I love basketball, but I like my teams, like the Orlando Magic, that type of thing. I've never been into the women's side of it, which is definitely unfortunate because women should be supporting women more. But I really didn't pay attention to anything until Caitlin Clark. I mean, in all honesty, and she just seems like she is an incredible representative of the sport for women, in the way that she conducts herself and then her professionalism, that type of thing. But I'm really not up to speed on the whole Olympic thing, to be straight up with you, but just her in general.
Yeah, I mean, she's brought a lot of publicity to the WNBA. So for her to be off the Olympic team was a little bit of a shock, but and I forget who the Olympic Committee, one of the spokespersons came out and said, our job is to put the best team together, not to see who's going to be popular to watch it. I was like, that's kind of a bold statement.
Yeah, ask the folks that broadcast that. They're looking for the ratings.
Okay.
I worked in TV, just saying.
Will she have a job next year? Questionable. So hard to say.
Yeah.
Moving on. Another, I think, elephant in the room. U.S. submarine pulls into Guantanamo Bay a day after Russian warships arrive in Cuba. It has been all week. There's been sightings of Russian subs like 30 miles off the coast of Florida, and then I don't you're right there. So like, are you getting a lot of news down? You're the person I should be asking. Are you getting a lot of news coverage down there since you're literally right there?
So it's not news that's really on our local news, like local broadcast news, but it is clearly social and that type of thing. And then, now more and more, and I feel like this kind of happened during like maybe 2020, there's journalists that are just, they're individuals who that is their thing in their markets. They're out there, they're reporting everything that's going on. They're listening to, anything that's going on with the police radio, that kind of thing. And they're just on it. And a lot of that stuff, it's all very social. It's YouTube. It's that kind of thing. And it's legitimate news and it's real. It's not edited for, content. Like I said, I've worked in broadcasting and I know how much editing goes on, and you can take a story and you can flip the script just by editing. And I've seen it done multiple times and it's not good.
You mean it's not true? They edit it out before it goes out to the public?
Exactly.
I'm sure.
Then that's the quote of the day. And it's like half the quote. And you're going, huh? And I'm not talking about general politicians, because we already know that already happens, but just general Joe Schmoes that are being interviewed about a pothole on Fifth Street. I mean, they can take it and they can literally flip that script based on how much editing's done, because people will get up and they'll talk for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And you see 15 seconds of their spiel.
It's amazing. I've been behind the scenes on some major broadcast stuff, and like you said, some of the editing that goes on it's almost an art form.
Yeah.
Wow, they really want to shift one thing to the other. I gotta hit some of these comments here quick, because these are too good. Ryan, she's a good rookie. She'll have to earn her spot and more. Yeah. Rich, she's an ultimate general. Never watched the WNBA this year. Now am I better? Yeah, she's got plenty of time. She's young.
Yeah.
She's young.
Yeah.
She is a major part of this growth. Totally agree with that, Rich. Totally agree. It's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens moving forward with Caitlin.
I did want to mention something. I feel like as a woman that they're not spotlighting her because she is in the spotlight.
Mhm.
But if she were a man, they would be all over that. Do you not think so? I mean, look at like Michael Jordan. I mean, he was a man, he came out, he was whatever, and he was getting Nike shoe deals, and I think he did do the Olympics, if I'm not
Well,
mistaken. I could be wrong, but
he was on the Olympic team, 92
mm,
team, I believe. But she's gotten a lot of deals. I mean, she's one of the most highly paid athletes now in WNBA,
yeah.
history. And I think that the way that it's structured there, I don't know. I'm not gonna deep dive into that too much because I don't know all of the details on it, and I'd rather have more details than to
Mhm.
say something. I can stick my foot in my mouth on my own. I don't need the WNBA to help me do that. So,
Every day, every day. I just tell people, I'm blonde, that's my excuse.
yeah.
That's my get out of jail free card there.
Uh, so I wanna go back. I wanna go back to the Guantanamo, and the subs,
Yeah.
the submarines. Obviously, Guantanamo Bay is a U.S. base.
Mhm.
There's nothing new there. And you can look that stuff up. The stuff that we've had Russian ships go off the coast before in years past. I feel like this is one of those things but there's a lot of tension going on in the news right now that you can look up. And again, folks, don't take my word for it. This is all stuff that you can look up. I
Mhm.
got to say this every week because some of you jump on me, you're like, that's not true. Blah blah blah. Great, we can agree to disagree. I'm just telling you what I've seen.
Yeah.
Look it up yourself.
There is a submarine off of the coast of Florida, off the east coast of Florida, that's been in our local news.
Yeah.
Like I was talking about, just something that's more organic and more whatever. But I will tell you this: the fact that we know about it is good
Yeah.
because subs, you don't, my
Yeah.
ex husband was fast attack
Yeah.
nuclear subs, and I
Yeah.
guarantee you they're out there on their tail. I guarantee you they're not out there doing their own jam.
And that's why the US sent something down to
Mhm.
Guantanamo anyway. I mean, it's according to this report, I forget where this came from because it kind of combined two together here. Um, the U.S. Navy warships plan to follow the Russian uh, naval ships visiting the region if it crosses the Caribbean and sails to Venezuela, as it's expected to do, said U.S. officials to the Miami Herald. Um, the U.S. vessels that are following include 3 destroyed. I don't need to get into that. I don't know why the news should not bring that stuff up, but anyway, um, yeah. So it's being watched. But
Mhm.
again, there's been a lot of news about Russian activity off the coast here this past week, so that's why they bring it up. I found it interesting. It's
Mhm.
going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward. Next one. U.S. Saudi petrodollar pact ends after 50 years. The 50-year-old petrodollar agreement between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia was just allowed to expire this past week. Those of you that don't know, the term petrodollar described the U.S. dollar role as the currency used for crude oil transactions on the world market. This traces back to the early 1970s when the United States and Saudi Arabia struck a deal shortly after the U.S. went off the gold standard. And the agreement has had far reaching consequences for the global economy. Why did I put this up here this week? Well, because this is kind of a big deal. You've got to know what's going on with our dollar, I think, all the time. And the fact that they took this off and Saudi Arabia is working with, there was another article, I'm paraphrasing here, but it had something to do with Saudi Arabia, China, and some other European countries about creating a digital currency that could potentially be used for oil exports moving forward. So this is going to be interesting. This is something that we need to be paying attention to, us as a whole, as a
Mhm.
society. Um, I just found this to be interesting. So if this is the case, I would like to see personally. I don't know if this will ever happen. If the bank's central banking system probably won't allow it, but I think we should go back to the gold standard. Quite frankly,
Yeah, that's super interesting. I think there's so many different moving parts right now internationally. I know we're also focused on national stuff and, the drama and all these different types of things, but it takes away from looking at the international. So many different things are going on in different parts of the country. I feel like so much activity that we've never really seen. Well, maybe seen, not in my lifetime, I guess I should say. Um, and we really need to pay attention to all of it because it does affect us as a country.
Yeah.
Kind of going back to the submarines and the surface ships that are in Guantanamo and Cuba. It's interesting to me because I almost feel like while they may be doing different things and there's nothing going to become of it, I almost feel like it's just testing the waters for what you can kind of get away with and see what gets noticed.
I
Like the China balloon. I mean,
I don't think we would ever do anything like that.
I'm sorry, what?
I said, I don't think we would ever do anything like that. I don't think our government would do certain things that would deem questionable to the American people. Why would we question our government?
Mm. I hear the sarcasm and I'm not sure how to respond.
No response needed. I know there's going to be people that watch this. They're like, "Are you crazy?" No,
Yeah.
it's
No.
one dramatic pause.
And the thing is that's always, for the most part, you have to be very careful. You have to know what you can trust, what you can't trust. This is one thing with our government. Maybe I'm getting into like too deep of water, but I feel like the way that things get managed, if they were a corporation and we were the client, their heinies would be fired.
Oh yeah, yeah, in a heartbeat. But you're bringing up that, and that's a whole nother topic. I think you could talk about each and every day. Can you make a good point? I'm not going to repeat that one out loud, but that's a very, very good point. Very good point. And here's the one thing I've noticed as I've gotten older is like, we complain about the government and rightfully so. But it starts local. It starts where you're at, on a local level, and then it goes to the county level, state level, and then so on. So we really got to change. And I think, and this is probably me being overly optimistic, but I think we're starting to see more and more of a change of stuff like that. People getting more involved in their local areas, and you're starting to see change. And there's actually one change that I'll be talking about here. Actually, this will be a great segue into that one. Let me go to this next one I found earlier this morning. Minnesota now bars police from asking standard questions during traffic stops. Now, the title of it seems a little clickbaitish, in my opinion, but now Minnesota forbids the question and requires officers to instead proactively inform drivers as to why they've been pulled over. So my initial reaction to this was like, here we go, we're attacking police again. But then when you read the article and look this up, Minnesota now bars police from asking standard questions during traffic stops. You can Google that. Fairly long article, but I think with social media, you're seeing a lot of these people going out, questioning officers and doing these, protesting their First and Fourth Amendment rights, and like, why did you put? They're blatantly. The officers are trying to do their job. I get that. I respect that first and foremost. That's what we support our community heroes. But some of these people were like, can you articulate why you pulled me over? You have to have a reasonable to pull me over. And the officer's like, I need your identification, blah, 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 blah. Why'd you pull me over? Blah, blah, blah. And it's just like back and forth. And I don't think I get why people are doing it. I don't necessarily agree with it 100%, maybe because of how it's being conducted. But at the same time, how Minnesota now requires their officers to just, hey, let's cut the crap instead of trying to figure out, hey, well, why'd you pull me over? Well, let me see this, this, and this, and try to maybe search for something that might not be there. Instead, just like, I pulled you over because you're being a douchebag and you're driving. Like, you suck at driving. You're speeding. You ran that stop sign, whatever the case may be. It's like being a little more direct. I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, I think that one reason why the people freak out, a lot of times people freak out or the officers don't tell them, is because there could or could not be a warrant. And I think sometimes when they get pulled over, if they have a warrant, they want to know if that's what it is so that they can make a different decision. I mean, that's just my thought.
That could be true. De-escalation tactic. Kent says, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I like if I get pulled over, just tell me. You know why I pulled you over? I don't know. I'm a smart ass.
Mhm.
I've said stupid stuff before.
So we're gonna see you on YouTube later in a
Yeah,
video.
I'll be one of those guys like, I got donuts, whatever. It's it is what it is. No, I know why you pulled me over because I was speeding. Oh, well,
Mhm.
now I just admitted to speeding. No, why'd you pull me over?
Mhm.
It's always like, why'd you pull me over?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, let me get this, and this. And I'm always respectful.
Mhm.
And here's the other thing: people would be surprised is like if you're respectful to the police officers, just how respectful they'll be.
And that is true. I mean, I will say when I've been pulled over, and it's been a very, very long time because I think I'm a great driver, but I think I just maybe don't get caught more than some folks. But I have my driver's license and my insurance in hand. So when they come to my window,
Yeah,
I'm good to go. I mean, because I keep it handy. So it's not like, I don't understand people that, oh, I don't have my driver's license. How do you not have your driver's license? Especially if you just came from a bar.
wow.
So I'm not buying what you're selling me. So yes, just food for thought.
He said if you just came from a bar. And with that being said, it being Father's Day weekend and the Army birthday, I want to this is a great time to remind everybody, please do not drink and drive. Have an Uber driver, and let's be responsible out there. Next topic or next headline, you'll get a kick out of this, Darlene, because this is down in Florida.
Mm,
The
they all are.
UN, WHO, not the band,
Mhm.
and WEF declared terrorist organizations. It's about time. I wish it was that easy. It's not. The
Mhm.
Lee County Republican Assembly, which is a grassroots conservative Republican organization, passed a resolution introduced last week declaring that the UN, WHO, and the WEF as terrorist organizations. The resolution also declares cooperation with the organizations uh, is an act of treason against the United States and the state of Florida.
Mm.
Awesome. However, unfortunately, the executive board of the Lee County Republican Party refused to allow the resolution to come up for vote to the full executive committee, which would have likely passed.
Yeah.
You got to love the state of Florida because they do some very interesting things. So I thought
We
that one was funny.
we
So
try.
yeah. I had one about China. We're gonna skip that one because it's their navy, and let's be honest, questionable.
Now, if we're talking about balloons, then we'd have, a good
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah,
Yeah, they have a great balloon warfare
yeah.
going on there.
They've got the balloon thing down. Apparently,
Yep.
it's South China Sea. Real quick, everybody, HMG Coffee. Go to hmgcoffee.com. 10% off. Use promo code HMG10. Now, let's get to know Darlene. We talked a little bit about you, but let's dive in a little bit more. Who is Darlene? Who is Darlene?
Oh, um, I was a military spouse for over 20 years
Okay.
and unfortunately became divorced. And my daughter was in college. My son was a very angry 13-year-old. And I raised him by myself after that as a single mom. And he was my hardest job I've ever had and my biggest joy.
Yeah.
So he went to college, he graduated. I honestly wasn't sure, and I've told him this before, so this is no big surprise. I wasn't sure he was gonna end up in, like, juvie hall, but, he was a lot of work, but, he's come around, and he honestly is, like, one of my, along with my daughter, favorite people in the whole world.
Right on. Right
Yeah.
on. Well, that's good stuff. Good mom. Good mom. Appreciate you. How long have you been with Senior Living Guide?
I'm going on 7 years, so not terribly long. Like I mentioned before, my background, I worked for an ABC affiliate in Orlando,
Yeah.
and I worked on the digital marketing. I worked client side, so I worked on, I worked with a lot of PI attorneys. I worked with car dealers. I worked with, um, you know, electricians, all kinds of different home services, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And it was a fabulous job. It was so fun and exciting. And we had like enormous parties, and we would have, launch parties for the fall season premieres. And we would, people that were on the shows, famous people, they would come and they would host our largest clients and our agencies. And we'd have like Google parties where we had Google teenies, and it was all amazing. It was super fun. Um, but I moved over to this area because I was living in Orlando at the time and couldn't do the commute. And so this job became available, and it was working remote from home. And I thought, oh, that would be so much fun because I can go to the gym, I can have lunch with my friends, and then I can do happy hour, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so that's not true. I work harder now than I've ever worked. So it was a bait and switch. And then I thought, oh, senior living.
Sold you on it, huh?
Yeah. I sold myself, to be honest with you. But the crazy thing is I was like, oh, senior living, senior housing, ugh, so not sexy. And so I really was, do I really want to do this? Or I want to tell people, I'm working in senior housing, I'm working with old people. But oh my gosh, I'm going to tell you something. It's been the biggest blessing in my life because I do have such an incredible love for our seniors,
Yeah.
their families, and the people that take care of them, especially those that are experiencing, dementia or Alzheimer's, because that was the toughest job, taking care of my dad with dementia. I thought my son was tough, and yes, he definitely was in a totally different way.
Yeah.
But people do not understand the island that you become on when you have to make decisions and you care for someone that I was the daddy's girl that you've known and respected. I never even asked my dad how much money he made. I never went into my mother's purse. I never went into their bedroom without knocking. I was super respectful. And now all of a sudden I have to go into their finances, and I have to go into his finances and see, Dad, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? And then, trying to figure out everything that he's done, which when you have someone that goes through cognitive issues and dementia, you'll find sometimes they have maybe multiple cell phones.
Yeah.
They have multiple cables. They're paying people, as my dad was. That was an attorney that didn't actually exist in um, Tennessee that he was paying $500 a month for over a year. That was completely illegitimate. So you're going through all these things, and it's like looking through your parents' underwear drawer. It's really hard when you have this respect, but all of a sudden you need to start making all these decisions, and some of them he is not going to like.
Yeah.
Taking away those car keys was the hardest thing I ever had to do with him, because I just knew as soon as people, what they don't realize and they don't think about this is, we're all going to get older,
Right.
death and taxes, it's unavoidable. And as you age, you start giving up your life as you knew it. Your kids have moved away, your grandkids have moved away. You may not be able to stay at home and live by yourself. And once you move out of that home, there's not like you're going to go into an assisted living and in 2 years, oh, you know what? I'm going to buy a new house.
Right.
That doesn't happen. Once you're in assisted living, that is it. Unless you go and live with family, you don't go, you are no longer independent. And once your car keys are taken away, you are no longer independent, and they know that. And those are really hard things for people to accept as they age. And I don't think people understand how life altering that is to someone's mental health, to depression, all these different things. Their social life is absolutely restricted.
Right.
Unless you do move into an assisted living, and then that's a totally different, all brand new people with a lot of ailments. So it really is something that we need to like look at and consider. And especially in this country, I know that some countries they are so blessed, their seniors are so blessed that their kids are just expected,
Right.
and do it with joy and happiness in their heart and respect for their parents, take those parents, and we don't have this is my job per se, working with senior living communities, but we really do. That's what we we do in this country versus other countries.
Yeah, and it's I haven't had to experience that on a personal level per se, yet. I'm probably gonna get in trouble for saying that on here, but
Mhm.
but it is something you think about. Even, I'm 46, and it's after working with you the last couple months, it's like, okay, I gotta start potentially planning certain things so,
Mhm.
when my son when I get to that age, I don't wanna make it difficult for him to
Right.
try to take care of me or find this, that, and the other thing, so it's always
Mhm.
been communication, open communication, basically communication being the biggest key,
Yeah.
uh, on that. Darlene, let's go ahead and let's talk about the latest, seniorlivingguide.com episode.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh, I feel like we've been doing so many. That's the caregiving one?
yep.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Yes. So Christy Freeze joined me on our last podcast, and she really provides a roadmap to caregivers. So our podcast is for seniors and caregivers. You can kind of look at the topic and pick which fits you best as far as what the content is. But she really shares. She was a caregiver, and so she put together. It really is just like it's almost like a pamphlet
Mhm.
of just kind of bullet points, things that you can do as a caregiver, and then different resources. Because when you are on that quote unquote island of taking care of someone, you do need resources, you need support, and you need to kind of know what to do, or you could end up, a lot of times caregivers die before the seniors they're taking care of. Statistically, that's insane, right?
Really?
Yeah, so it happens a lot because those caregivers don't take care of themselves. They get completely worn down, worn out. They may have medical issues that they're not addressing because they're so entrenched in taking care of someone else. So their health declines significantly, and sometimes it's more like, heart attack, cholesterol, those types of things
Yeah.
that would be, not dying of old age or dementia or those types of things, because dementia and Alzheimer's can be what they call the long goodbye.
Yeah.
You can have that for a very, very long time before it actually affects whether you're alive or not alive. So it's really something. It's a disease, and it's a disease that we can barely treat, and we don't really know. We have no cures. Now they are coming out with more and more types of things that with early onset dementia that can delay it for a very long time. And then I have done some podcasts where you can proactively at a younger age, or even, anytime that you hear it, start preventing dementia, because you don't have to get it necessarily. Now, hereditary, it can definitely be hereditary, but there's lifestyle changes that you can make, and acknowledging different things that may be going on, like sleep apnea and tooth decay. Those types of things can lead to dementia, which people don't really realize.
Yeah.
So,
That was an eye opener for me with my
yeah.
sleep apnea, and then my bloodline, there's people that had dementia and whatnot.
Mhm.
Oh god, I got a double whammy. It's like, I guess, something to look forward to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in that episode that you're talking about, I think it gave several examples of what to do. Uh,
Mhm.
what I and then I immediately started incorporating those into my day to day life. So
Yeah.
I think this is a very educational show, and there's a lot of viewers and listeners out there on the network.
Mm.
Um, folks, we're at that age, and we have friends and family that are at that age. Like, this is stuff that we need to really start addressing. And then for
Mhm.
the younger audience that watch us, uh, it's never too early, and it's never too late to learn something new. Keep
Yeah.
this stuff in mind so you can live a longer and healthier life. So
Yeah.
that is seniorlivingguide.com. You can find that right here on Heroes Media Group, and where all podcast, it's on all the podcast platforms as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I did want to mention our two top podcasts. I think they're kind of interesting in the title.
Yeah.
Our number one is Sex After 60 is Nifty. I always tell people who says sex doesn't sell. And then our number two is Taking Care of Someone You Don't Like.
Oh my God.
Because there are so many people that are put in the position of taking care of maybe a parent
Yeah.
that was not the best parent in the world.
You just
Or they had issues with growing up, or as they get older or they have cognitive issues, people with dementia and Alzheimer's, they can get very mean. So you are dealing with someone that doesn't have any personal responsibility, and now they're also not nice to you. But you don't have any choice because there's no finances that's going to afford you any type of memory care.
right.
Because that can be, I mean, the cheapest or least expensive memory care is probably around $3,500 a month. It's expensive. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think people realize, like, once
Yeah.
you get to a certain age, or you get to that age where you're in a senior living or assistant living care or anything, like, just how expensive that stuff really is. I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen it in the realms of literally hundreds of thousands of dollars a year
Yeah.
in some places, and it is absolutely mind blowing.
Yeah.
And it's look it up.
Yeah.
Don't take my word for it. Look it up. Google it, and you'll be shocked. I'd be surprised if you're not shocked
And
on just how much it takes financially in assisted living or whatnot.
mhm. And Medicare, people think, "Oh, I'm gonna go Medicare, good deal, insurance is over." Well, straight up Medicare is bare bones, it doesn't give you hardly anything, and then this is where it gets complicated. There's Part A, Part B, all these different parts, and those cost money. They can cost several $100 a month
Yeah.
just for very basic.
So this is where you really need to have
Yeah.
finances in order and plan ahead. Have a life
Mhm.
insurance policy or a family trust
Yeah,
or what have you. So,
yeah.
okay, thank you, Darlene. We appreciate that. You're happy? You're more than welcome. We're going to cover the rest of the episodes right now. So that one there, folks, seniorlivingguide.com. And make sure you can check out all the shows at heroesmediagroup.com. Next up in the queue, we got Patriots Inside the Wire by our Gold Star mom. She had some big breaking news this week on Patriots Inside the Wire. You can go to their Facebook page. She did a live feed Wednesday night, it was. So go check that out. Patriots Inside the Wire. Next up, we got Bump in the Road this week. And hence, ask the question, what is anger? Is it more than just one thing? This conversation with Anne is a must listen to all of us trying to decipher our own feelings and reactions. This one's pretty powerful. It's called Bump in the Road podcast. Check it out. Bump in the Road.
I like it.
Yeah, this was a good one. And one of our newer ones, one of our newer shows to the network as well. Yet another new one. The Professional Rule Breaker. Quote, there will be two types of businesses, one that is fully embracing AI and one that is out of business, end quote. That is
Mm,
such a powerful statement. And it kind of, when I read that, I was like, oh shit. Like, okay, it's
yeah,
so true. I'm not going to edit that out. I said it. I
yeah.
said what I said. In this episode, they're talking about the hot topic AI and how it impacts business and businesses. They discuss different waves of AI, how to weave AI into your business, breaking down different complex concepts into simple, actionable steps. I was one of those guys that was a huge like FAI. I can't believe they're doing this to us. Like now, I'm the polar opposite. I was like, man, this is really, especially when I get like, because I have 100 things going on in my mind at times. So if I can just kind of type something out and just hit it, and then it kind of like maybe do this, and it kind of like clears up my thoughts a little bit more. I think it's great in that aspect of things. But just like anything else, folks, I will tell you this is, too much of a good thing isn't necessarily good for you either. So we got to watch what we do with AI as well. But this was a great episode. AI and its impact on business. Take notes with this one. It's called the Professional Rule Breaker.
Mm.
Next up, we got the Arms Room Show, the original OG show of HMG. This week, they have the crew from Rolling Dirty Overland in the studio with them, talking about necessary gear and concepts for vehicle rescue and recovery. Take notes on this one. This was an eye-opener. I'd be surprised at how many people carry jumper cables in their car or even a spare tire.
I don't even know. I don't even know if I do.
How many of you have checked your spare tire in the last 3 months to make sure it's still got air in it? Check it out. It's called the Arms Room Show. Next up, we got Misfit Nation podcast. Love this show. They do a show a couple times a week. Rich was on here a little bit earlier. This week, or their latest episode, Anthony Lavopa, a distinguished U.S. Navy veteran, an active duty Navy officer, comes on to share his insights on leadership and professional development. He's got over 15 years in the military, including in commanding a U.S. Navy warship. Pretty cool. Anthony brings a wealth of experience leading high-performance teams and navigating complex challenges. This was a really cool episode. Check it out, Misfit Nation podcast. What do we got here? Ryan, absolutely true. Yeah, I hear you there, man. Next up, we got your 6 at 6 with our friends over at the People's Patriot Project. Every Sunday night, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. They do a couple shows a week. Well, we're talking about their Sunday night show here. This particular episode, it's either going to solve every problem known to mankind, or it's going to create a whole bunch of new ones. So the gang from SFH, Lance, Tyler, and Brian, are not to be messed with. They are still around. They're a great group of guys. They go in through some may say they're disabled, but they're not. They are battle hardened warriors, and you're going to get to hear their stories of determination and accomplishments over tragedy. That was this past Sunday at 6. Again, they do a live show on their Facebook page every Sunday night, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. They also do on Monday nights. They do a weekly debrief, and then one night, I forget what night, but they do a We P3 radio as well, where they highlight a lot of veteran music artists. So it's pretty cool. Check it out, People's Patriot Project. What do we got next? The Decision Hour with yours truly. This week, I had an awesome time talking with Damian Lupo. He's a seasoned entrepreneur who he's launched and grown over 70 companies, some of them reaching valuations in the 9-figure range. This guy was incredible to talk to. Down to earth, really cool. He has a company now, talking about, it's a construction craftsmanship company called Frame Tech. It's revolutionizing the construction industry, and it's absolutely amazing. They're down in Arizona right now, and it cuts frames, and then they have it saves up to 80%, and it's environmentally friendly. It's such a cool concept. You can go to Frame Tech. That's frametec.com. You could check that out. But also, what we discussed was his wealth of wisdom on achieving financial freedom. He came up with this EQRP and this community to create retirement plan that empowers individuals to take control over their financial destinies and what you want to accomplish. Now, here's the thing, and this was such a cool thing, and he brought it up. He's like, I can give you guys all the tools, but you still have to put in the work. The problem is we've become such a lazy society that we want just give me the answer. Just give me the secret so I can overnight have it. It doesn't work that way. You want the secret? The secret is do the work. That's the secret. It doesn't get any easier than that.
We are a spoon-fed nation.
Oh, yes. Yes, we are.
You can even look at, like, on the digital side, people that watch, like, YouTube videos and things like that, that are marketed. They will literally watch 15 seconds and they're out. It used to be 30 seconds, and before that, you could almost do a 1-minute video.
Yeah.
People would watch it. They don't. So you have to keep editing down.
Yeah.
So you can get your whole message in 15
1 minute.
seconds.
It used to be called the 30-second elevator pitch. Now you got about 15 seconds.
Yep. Because people are like, "La."
If you're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
So check that out. That's this week's Decision Hour, and here's just a little warning on this particular episode. Get a pen and a piece of paper. You're gonna want to take some notes, because also you get a free gift. He gives out a free gift. What is it, Adam? Go listen to it. Find out. It's called the Decision Hour. Check it out.
That's a hook.
Thank you. All right. Next up, we got the other side of the firewall. Ryan, I don't know if you're still on, brother, but we're talking about you right now. This is our friend Ryan Williams Sr. This is his show, Other Side of the Firewall. This is such a great show. It's I call it an IT show, and I'm probably underplaying it by saying that. He does a show every day, Monday through Friday. They pump out an episode. Their Friday show, I like to think of it as more their fun show. They talk about this morning, they talked about media consumption, different TV shows that they watched, comedy specials. They also share updates on their personal lives, such as graduations and college orientations, because it's that time of year. Ryan mentioned his plans for the podcast and upcoming appearances that he's going to be doing. And then Shannon also talks about his upcoming travel plans. So this was a pretty fun episode to listen to, but more importantly, they talk a lot about the importance of cybersecurity. And that's what I absolutely love about this show and the stuff that he does. Oh, and there he is right there. Ryan, you see in the comment sections, if you're watching right now, you'll see Monday implications of the Snowflake data breach, Microsoft recall. So those of you that are Microsoft people, there are recalls. Check those out. Cybersecurity stuff. Yep, got Thursday. Empowering the next generation. I love this. It's a cool show. Check it out. Very consumable too. You'd think, oh, it's an hour-long show. 12 to 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. Very, very consumable. On Other Side of the Firewall, check it out. And I'll say one more thing about this show. The one thing I like about it, because I'm not an IT person, I literally have called Ryan and emailed him probably a half a dozen times in the last 2 weeks, asking him questions about different software programs and this, that, and the other thing. And he explains it in such a manner to where he doesn't make me feel like an idiot. So thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it.
I do love the name of the show. That's a really cool name.
Yeah. Great show. Everyman's Odyssey has got some new stuff coming up. Stay tuned for that. The Shay Sparks Show, season 11 is here. What is she talking about? Let's find out. How to use your voice for your legacy with Mark Roenick. Mark is he's got 20 plus years in the podcasting industry. He is the founder of Roenick Media and the co-founder of Next Gen Podcaster. He has pioneered new ways of producing, branding, and leveraging AI in podcasting. I'm a little excited. I get to meet Mark here in the next couple of weeks down in North Carolina, where I'll meet up with Shay, and we're going to an event down there with Mark to meet with him. So this is going to be really cool. Great episode. Season 11 is out. The Shay Sparks Show. Check it out. Next up, Homefront Sit Rep Podcast. Love this show. One of our newer shows again. This week they have Back to Heroes Rumble with Carl Wallen on. This was a really cool episode. Homefront Sit Rep, they do 2 shows. They do a show live every Sunday night, and then they do one Monday night, and you can find them live on their Facebook page or on they stream it live right to the Heroes Media Group Facebook page as well. So make sure you check those out. Homefront Sit Rep podcast. Stay with me, folks. We got a couple more here. Next up, we got the Joel Evans Show. Pay attention, first responders and veterans. Listen up. We're breaking the pendulum on mental and physical health for our first responders. This latest episode with Sonia McVeigh, founder of The Six. She joins us, shares her inspiring journey and pivotal moments that led her to create The Six, a groundbreaking organization specializing in post-traumatic fitness and sports therapy for veterans and first responders. I watched this episode the other night. It's an awesome show. Great episode. I learned a lot from it. Check it out. It's called the Joel Evans Show. That was really, really cool. I gained a lot from it, especially since I'm a gym rat. All right, next up, we got Beyond the Rut with our man, Jerry. Jerry, I know you'll end up seeing this. Happy birthday, brother, because he's an Army veteran as well. This week, we're tackling challenges Christian men face expressing their faith at work. Jerry dives into the top 3 concerns: fear of judgment, navigating the secular environments, and whoa, what do we got here? Temperature too high. Well, I apologize, folks. Give me just a second here. That's the first. That's what happens.
Getting hot in the room over there.
Yeah,
Huh?
it's getting hot. It's getting hot over here. That is the first. Oh, there it is. All right.
Yeah.
I'm about to turn this fan back on over here. My God. Where were we? Okay, Jerry. Top 3 concerns: judgment, navigating secular environments, and the balancing of faith with professionalism. That's always a big one. Jerry offers practical tips from his personal journey and biblical wisdom. Discover how to excel in your job as a testament to your faith, embodying Colossians 3:23. Learn the power of deeds over words, reflecting the fruits of the Spirit. Galatians 5, 22 20 or through 23, excuse me. And then embrace your secular workplace as a ministry field, just as Jesus did. Luke 5, verse 27 through 32. I thought this was really cool. Jerry, nice job on this one, brother. Beyond the Rut. Check it out. Next up, we got Label Free podcast with our gal, Deanna. This lady's on fire and she's everywhere, and I absolutely love it. This week, Ron Beckenfield, the founder and president of Superior Source Vitamins. Ron shares his journey of starting his business out of the trunk of his car at a Gold's Gym 5 decades ago. Ron attributes his youthful appearance to regular exercise and a solid diet. Ron's 80 years old right now. Just throwing that in there. He does not look 80 at all.
For him.
Yeah. He discusses the importance of reading the labels on food and supplements, highlighting the need for clean ingredients. He also shares the insights on various supplements he takes daily, including collagen, B12, and beetroot powder with apple cider vinegar. Yeah, I don't really know about the beetroot powder. I know it's good for you. That just sounds horrible, though. Ron emphasized the combination of creatine and HMG for muscle retention as well. So, Label Free podcast, folks. Take notes on this one. This was a great episode. Label Free podcast. Check it out. Next up, we got Because Bikers Matter podcast. Our host, Vegas. He welcomes special guest Larry Fletcher from Moto Blot to discuss the upcoming main event happening in Chicago from June 21st through the 23rd at the Cobra Lounge on Ashland and Fulton for all of you folks up in the Chicago Midland area. And we got a lot of you up there. So you may go check this out. There it goes again. Give me just a hot second, folks. I apologize. This is very interesting that this is happening.
Yeah, that happens with my phone. I've never had it happen with my internet.
Yeah, keep talking, Darlene.
I can sing. You want me to do some karaoke?
Do a little.
Nobody wants that. No, all of these topics that you're talking about, these new shows, and some of their episodes sound absolutely amazing. I can't wait to check some of them out. I'm really interested in, as we age, the label-free podcast that you were talking about, because
Yeah.
supplements are not all the same, as we know. So would
Oh
love
yeah.
to hear what he says, 'cause a lot of them have junk in them, and then a lot of them don't. So it's really understanding those labels too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, we're back here because Bikers Matter podcast. So Chicago, this marks the 20th anniversary of Mods and Rockers Chicago, the event that's inspired from Motoblot, excuse me. Jeez. It's Friday. Celebration will include a week of activities leading up to the main event, including screenings of various different movies that are going to be out there. So check that out, because Bikers Matter. And if you're in the Chicago area, highly recommend checking this event out. All right. We got 2 left here, folks. Stay with me. Hopefully the camera won't go out on me again. It is warm up here. MSEC podcast, Military Child Education Coalition. I say it every week. Active duty, guard, reserve, veterans. If you got kids in the house that are still of age in school, go check out our friends over at militarychild.org. Great organization. They got a ton of resources for you. This week, the Interstate Children's Compact Commission, or MIC3, addresses key educational transition issues encountered by children of military families. Great episode. Check it out. I love this organization. Their annual event is coming up, and I'll announce that next week. But it's coming up at the end of July. I want to say the 23rd. Don't quote me on that. But MSEC podcast. Check it out. Last up in the queue this week for shows this week, our man Ryan over at Chasing Happiness podcast. This week, we're diving into some crazy times with hot topics that affect all of us: healthcare and health insurance. This week, he welcomes Harlan Pickett to the show. With over 20 years in the health insurance industry, Harlan, has seen it all and is here to blow your mind with game-changing insights. In this episode, you're going to be able to tell the difference between health insurance and health care. 2 things that have been led to believe that are the same, but spoiler alert, they're not. They're really not. So check that out. It's called the Chasing Happiness podcast. Shout out to Veteran PCS. Appreciate you guys. My Tax Fella. Listen, if you're a small business owner or you just don't like doing your taxes, go to mytaxfella.com. Hit up Anthony. Tell him we said hello and that we sent you. Go check them out. They're great folks. JB Auto Clothiers. I'm not wearing the jacket today because it's Army birthday and we got to rep the Army. But go check out this veteran-owned organization. Custom made to measure suits and jackets for you, for men and women.
Fancy.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's good times. It's good times. Forget Genetics, another veteran-owned company. Go check them out, especially if you're a hunter. This is the product that you want in the woods during hunting season. Go check it out. Forget Genetics. Motorcycle Safety Lawyers, Home Studio Mastery with our man Junaid. Go check him out. He's helped out with this stuff here. He's also warned me about the camera. Clearly, I have not updated what he's told me to do there yet. But we're working on it. The Freedom People. And then, of course, my man, Jim Neary's Bait and Tackle, another veteran-owned great organization, and Warriors on the Water LTD. Appreciate you guys. And then last, certainly not least, we got Sisu Stamina and the universal learning approach, my little vitamins that I like to take. These things are great. You start bogging down kind of midday, you pop one of these and woo! You ready? You good to go? That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah. Zoom. Yeah. Zoom. So that's it. That is all we got for today, folks. Appreciate you guys being here. Darlene, thank you so much for everything that you do. And thank you for putting up with me today.
No, I had an amazing time. This was so much fun. I never get to do this. I'm always the one like deep diving into topics and answering questions. So this was actually really fun for me. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate you being part of the HMG family. So without further ado, and that being said, folks, that's all the time that we got today. Happy Father's Day to all you great dads out there. To all my Army brothers and sisters, happy birthday. Enjoy the weekend. God bless you. God bless America. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.